Here's the fastest way to make your first $1,000 as a freelancer. First, choose a skill. Now, this doesn't have to be anything crazy or out of the world. It can be as simple as creating PowerPoint presentations on Canva, or cleaning up an apartment, or being able to create social media posts. Whatever that skill is, I want you to get clear on that. For me, when I first started freelancing, it was actually resume writing. I knew how to write resumes really well. And so I was like, okay, if I know how to write resumes well, maybe I can do it for others. So figure out what that is for you. Next, I want you to make an Excel sheet. And in the Excel sheet, I want you to write down everyone you know, from your LinkedIn connections, Instagram followers, to literally on your phone when you go on contacts. Write down everyone you know that you think would be interested in the skill you have to offer. So for example, for me, when I was doing resume writing, I made a list of all the people who I think could use resume writing services. And that Excel sheet was enormous. Now, once you've created that Excel sheet, I want you to send a voice note to everyone in that Excel sheet saying something along the lines of this. Hey Johnny, it's been a while since we talked at that conference. I just wanted to let you know that I'm starting a new freelance resume writing service, and I was wondering if you happen to know anyone who would be interested in this service. Thanks a lot, man. Take care. That is it. You just send out this exact same voice note to everyone in that Excel sheet. And the great thing is that you're not asking them to buy from you. You're simply asking them, hey, do you know someone? And if they need it themselves, they'll be like, yes, actually, that's me. Or if they know someone, they'll be like, yes, actually, that person I know, a friend of mine, let me connect you. Or at worst, what they're gonna say is, they're gonna hear your voice note and they're gonna be like, oh my god, it's so great to hear your voice. I actually don't have anyone that comes to mind, but thank you so much for sending that voice note. That's gonna be the interesting part, because the odds are, when you're sending out these voice notes, part of you is gonna feel very icky or feel salesy or whatnot, right? But knowing that you're not actually telling them to buy from you and you're just simply asking them if they know someone, you're not sleazy in that way. I remember the first time I did this, I was literally walking back and forth for a good 20 minutes before I sent out my first voice note. And I was like, god damn, I'm so sleazy, holy crap. And then I was like, what the hell am I doing? Just stop being a and just send out that voice note. And so I spent the entire day sending out voice note after voice note and literally forced myself through it. Like, I would send one, and then I'll throw my phone on the bed and just be like, shoot, I'm a sleazy salesman. But what's funny is, by the end of that month, I made my first $5,000 as a freelance marketer because I sent out these voice notes. Okay, so you sent out these voice notes, now what? You're gonna get, again, 3 responses. Yes, no, I know someone. To the people who said, yes, I need it, follow this exact process that I'm about to outline to you. Say something like, great, awesome, why don't we jump on a call tomorrow at 2 o'clock and we can figure out the details. Does that sound like it works for you? The idea is you want to book them on a call. So if they say yes, get them to schedule a call with you right away. Schedule a call. That's what you want to do. And at this point, give it a week, you'll probably have your calendar filled with 5, 10, who knows how many calls, right? And once you have a call coming up, follow this process. When it's call time, start off with small talk. How you doing, yo? It's good to see you. Oh my god, it's been a while. Awesome. So we're on this call because it sounds like to me you need presentations made for you. And all you want to do is ask them why they need presentations or why they need your service or whatever you're offering. And just ask, why presentation? Oh, you have a class coming up. What's the topic about? Do you have any guidelines for fonts and colors? Do you have a preference for how I outline the slides in any way? Is there a previous example of slides you want me to kind of imitate? And you want to ask a lot of questions so you get a very clear idea of, when you're doing the task, what is exactly required of you. From there, near the end, it's going to be time to talk about the pricing. This is probably going to be the hardest part, but you got this, okay? Once you get a clear idea of what they want, in this case, let's make it up. Let's say they're hiring you to do Instagram posts, and you have asked all these questions about the campaign, the nuance, the brand guidelines, all this, and now you have a very clear idea of what they need. Now we want to say something like this. Awesome, now that I have a clear idea of what you need from me, Mr. Client, the next part of this conversation, I want to focus a little bit on pricing for this service. Are you comfortable if we go there? Do you have any questions before I go there? And they'll probably be like, no questions, I'm ready for the pricing, right? You're mentally preparing them to talk about money. And all you want to do is just say, great, Mr. Miss Client, this will cost $200. This will cost $100. Right? I just go for the 100. Don't go any lower than that. You're gonna be your first time, so you're probably gonna feel like, oh, this is so expensive. Oh, I don't know how to talk about money. What if this is too much? And then they're like, oh, it's too much for me. Go away, right? Even like asking for like $20, $50 because you've never asked for money before is gonna sound like a lot. But for now, keep the threshold at least $100. Okay? And when you bring up money in that call, say it with a stern face and voice and don't flinch. That's gonna cost you $100. How does that sound to you? Because the moment you start sounding iffy or weird about your price, they're gonna be like, oh, you seem kind of iffy. Are you sure it's actually good and works? That's it, okay? If this is gonna cost $100, how does that price sound to you? And if they say it's a little too pricey, you have two options. First, you can be like, well, that's actually the minimum it requires for me to work with the project like this, and so it doesn't seem like we're a good fit. I can refer you to someone else. Will you be more comfortable with that? And then they're gonna be like, okay, you know what, fine, that price is good. Or you can say, I understand pricing seems to be a big concern. Is there anything I can offer you to make this a complete no-brainer of an offer for you? And then maybe they're gonna be like, well, actually, if you can actually teach me how to do this on top of writing this for me, that'd be very helpful. And maybe that teaching thing is super easy, super quick, and now you're like, oh, that's nothing. Yeah, I'll do that. And then they're gonna be like, oh, perfect, let's go, $100, no problem. If they say yes, what you wanna say is, great, I usually take payment up front. Is that something you're comfortable with? It can be a little weird to say that. I know. The thing you gotta understand is when you're starting this business thing for the first time, most of the time you're fighting against the limiting beliefs in your head because you're so not used to doing this stuff. So when you're actually confronting someone during a sales call or doing a cold outreach, you're gonna be like, oh God. Making your first 1,000, I can attest to this, is one of the hardest parts because you're literally fighting against yourself. You're really, literally reinventing yourself to become a different person. It's you against yourself. So you have to go through all these limiting beliefs and mindset and all these things to eventually make $1,000. Once you make 1,000, then you're like, oh, I just have to repeat that to make another 5. And then once you make 5, you're like, oh, this is actually not that bad. Talking about money is actually very, very easy. And it actually gets, believe it or not, easier from then on. Anyways, they say yes, payment up front, be like, thank you, great. And then after the call, you send an email. What you need in the email is first, a few bullet points of what you will deliver for the client, so the actual work you will do. Second, asking them to book a kickoff call with you. And what a kickoff call is essentially the first call you go on to start the project. And this call will generally go over, you know, are you gonna communicate through Slack? Are you gonna keep track of the project through Trello? Or when you're available, any like days off that you have coming on? You know, if you need any documents from the client, this is the time to get them, right? During that kickoff call. So again, in the email, include some dates and times for a kickoff call. And lastly, the link to an invoice. Again, you can use a tool like Wave to include links to invoices. And then you send the email off, you wait till you get paid, you wait till they tell you when they're free for a kickoff call. Then once they tell you exactly when they're free for a kickoff call, send them an invite to a call via Zoom or whatever tool you're using. And from there, once you're in the kickoff call, tell them exactly how you'll work on the project, what you need from them, and any tools that you'll be using so they can keep track of all the different project deliverables. And then you just work on the project and bam, you just made your first 100 and that should be pretty simple. Then you make another 100 and 500 and then 1,000. And just repeat. As you take on more projects, you want to start raising your price more. And what's interesting is you'll start realizing, ooh, this project, oh my God, midway through it, I realized, holy crap, this is worth way more than $100 or $200 or $300. This is actually worth a good $800. And I now feel resentful for not charging more. So the next project comes, you're like, no, this is not $100. This is actually $800, Mr. and Mrs. Client. How does that sound to you? Anyways, we can go into the whole thing. I've probably made videos on this. But essentially that process. When you repeat it enough, you're gonna make your first $1,000 as a freelancer. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to this channel if you want more content like this. Follow me on social media, and I will see you, my friend, in the next video. Peace, peace, peace.